Hello everybody, my name is Tristan and you might know me on Instagram as Subaru. I am a Rally Innovations Ambassador, and today in a partnership with Frontrunner, we're going to go ahead and install the new Slimsport rack. This is a no-drill roof rack. It's different than the original. We're going to go ahead and show how to uninstall the headliner and what tools and parts are needed to complete this job. So the first steps of uninstalling the headliner would be to grab your tools. So the one tool I need that you may or may not need would be a Phillips screwdriver. I do have these Jeep paracord handles. The stock grab handles, you would use a multi-tool or a plier. They have little plastic pins that you would pull out to pull them down out of the roof. One tool you could use, which would probably be the tool I'm going to be using today, will be a flathead screwdriver. This was what you would use to pry out the plastic clips, or if you want to be a little bit more professional, you could use a clip prier. They sell these on Amazon, probably about $4, but I'm going to be going ahead and using the screwdriver to show that you can do it at home. So what I'm going to be uninstalling first will be these little plastic pieces. This is not allowing the headliner to drop down. I'm going to do this on both sides, as well as these grab handles on both sides. Then I will get back to you and show you what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a partial drop down of the roof liner to show you don't actually need to drop down everything. Just to make it a lot easier for the people at home that don't want to deal with realigning clips on their headliners. So as you can see, I went ahead and took off the sides of the headliner. I'm not gonna go ahead and remove the whole headliner. You are more than welcome to in your installation. I find it easier just to take off the sides. Disclaimer, you can actually add creases into your headliners. They will not be permanent creases, but they will crease if you're not careful. So now I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to remove the roof rails. All of the stuff on the roof rails, you don't need to see how to take that off because you may or may not have it on, and I may or may not have it on differently than you. So after this, you're gonna see my car without roof rails. All right, everybody, so now I'm gonna be installing the roof rack. So what I'm gonna do to make it easier is I'm gonna go ahead and make these side slats together before I put them on. I'm gonna put them on one at a time, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in the slots. So what you need for this step, which will be repeated on both sides, will be a T30 bit. It's something you can find in a little accessory pack like this. You might even have a little Allen key that has a T30 socket side. And then you're going to be using the M6x16 bolt, which is the smaller bolt out of the 3 sizes they give you with the kit. And then you're also going to need a 10mm socket. So what you're going to do is you're going to conjoin this with the nylock nut using your 10mm socket and your T30 bit to add the stiffeners onto the rack. So this is how they will go. They are directional, so one will have a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So if you try to swap them, they won't work. And then you're also going to be using this time to put the roof rail, or either if you have a light bar cut out or not, you're going to be using that time to apply that as well. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and add that onto the side of the car with some silicone, and then you can apply the same steps to the next one. Okay, so we already did that side. As you can see, that's all bolted down. So what we're gonna wanna do is go ahead and put this silicone around the holes. There's going to be 12 holes on your car, 6 on each side. I had an accident with my silicone. But what you're gonna want to do, you could use clear. I chose black because it's gonna be hidden anyway. Is you're gonna put a good amount around the hole, and it got all over my hand. You're gonna just want to put a whole good glob on here. It's gonna be hidden anyway, so it shouldn't really matter how it looks. You can do a little bit nicer if you want to, but this is gonna be covered, so it's not a big issue for me. This is a quick setting RTV silicone. It's an instant gasket. You sell them at the 99-cent store for about $1. I picked up 4, and I've pretty much just used up one on one whole side and the rest of this, and I kind of squeezed it out the back. But you can probably make it look a little bit nicer than that. But that's what you're going to want to do for the 6 holes, and then we'll show you when we're done doing the rest what it will look like when we're going to go ahead and install. Alrighty, so now that you're ready to put the side slat of the roof rack on, what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to grab the longest bolt. I do not remember the size on the top of my head, but then you're going to get a crush washer, and then you're going to get a washer, and then this will go like this in the rack at the top right there, just like that. And then depending on where you're putting the slat on, they have 2 of these longer welded nuts. These ones will be on the front 4 bolts, so the front 2 and then the middle 2, and then this one will be on the back. So these are going to be the spacers that you're going to use to let you sit the rack on the roof. This is going to be all the way in the back. They come with 4 of these. These are the 20 centimeter spacer, I believe, and then these are the 24 centimeter spacer. I might be completely wrong, but this is a 20 and then this is a 24. So the 24s, there's 8 of those. Those 4 go on the front on each side, and there's 4 of these smaller spacers. These go on the back 2 on both sides. So now that we have that explained, we're gonna go ahead and put the slats in, and then we're gonna show you how to tighten it down from the top. This is going to be a 2-person step, as somebody needs to hold this at the bottom and somebody needs to screw at the top. And once you have them screwed in, you can go ahead and tighten them down to 9 foot-pounds of torque. That's all it needs to hold it onto the roof. If you'd like to torque it down a little bit tighter, you can, but not too tight, because you want to make sure you're not breaking these bolts, because that will be an expensive fix. All right, so now this is when it is a 2-person step. So what you're gonna wanna do is put the bolts in. It's easier with 2 people because obviously you can align the bolts up. I found it easier to just put the spacers already on here, and then you're just gonna drop the bolts one at a time through the spacers. And as long as you have the spacers lined up, they should fall straight into the roof right there. So now my lovely assistant will be holding the roof rack while I get to the bottom, and we're gonna go ahead and tighten the back right now for some extra security. And what you're gonna wanna go ahead and do is you're gonna wanna go ahead and put some RTV on here. You could use a lot less, but I don't want my roof leaking, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit more. Again, it's up to you. It's your discrepancy on how much you want to use. It's going to be your car that you're going to be working on. But for my car, I would want to know that I have extra security for leak protection. Alrighty, so what I chose to do was I chose to go ahead and put the side panels of the roof rack on. What FrontRunner advises you do is you go ahead and put the rack all together before you put it on. That wasn't an option I had today, but if you do that, it'd make it easier to just put it in the holes in one. So what you're gonna end up doing, if you choose to do it the way I did it, is you're gonna go ahead and have to drill out these holes on the car. These are self-tapping screws. So what you're gonna go ahead and do, once you get it all set up and level and as straight as possible, you get your T30 bit. This is an impact cordless drill. If I can do this one-handed, let's see. There we go. Then you're gonna go ahead and just then there you go. And I dropped one. So here's another one. and then you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna do it to the other side, but you're gonna repeat that for every single hole on top of the roof. What I'm gonna end up doing is doing one in the back, one in the middle, and one right here in the front. Not all the way in the front, but just right here. So then I can get the correct length of the rack and where it needs to sit, and then fully tighten it down. All right, so here I'm gonna have to measure out how long the bar is, because you're gonna go ahead and add this last bolt in just like this, and you're gonna want to center it as best as possible, because that's where it's going to help mount onto your front fairing. So to me, this looks about as centered as I can get. So I'm gonna leave it right there, and now I'm gonna connect this bracket piece. This is for the front fairing. You're gonna go ahead and connect it just like this, with a washer, which, down to my last bits here. I don't think there is a washer included. Nope. You're just gonna go ahead and tighten this down. This is gonna be a 13 millimeter bolt, which I lost my 13 millimeter socket somewhere in the car. So we're just gonna go ahead and tighten with a crescent wrench, because this will get the job done just fine. And this is gonna take some time, as it is a nylock nut on there, and you're just gonna wanna make sure you get it straight. You don't want it all the way tight yet, because you wanna make sure that it's as centered as possible. And then you're gonna go ahead and measure it up on the car. Hello everybody, I finished. This is the Slimsport rack on the 2019 Subaru Crosstrek. When you're finishing, there's two different types of installation to finish. So the one I chose would be for a light bar. I ended up using these bottom two mounting holes for the slat. This is so I can run a light bar. If you weren't using a light bar and you were going to be using the stock wind fairing that they had supplied you, you're going to go ahead and put the slat up here on these top two bolts, and then you're going to go ahead and add the fairing onto there. But because I am going to be using a light bar, I ended up having to put the slat down a little bit so I can mount the correct fairing. So other than that, it was a very, very easy install. One thing I do have to note, it's not Front Runner's fault whatsoever. This is on my part. This is a user error. I accidentally over-torqued this bolt right here, only when I over-torqued, and it actually snapped. That is not their fault. They gave me the correct torque specs, and I unfortunately went a little bit over them. That's nothing too hard to do. I can drill it out and rechange it. But other than that, very, very easy install. Very capable with common hand tools. Like we said before, tools we used was a flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver. You could use a impact wrench if you wanted to, and then a socket wrench, 10 millimeter, 13 millimeter, and just a Torx T30 bit, and that's all you need. And then you got yourself a nice looking rack.